A new chapter has started in my family's life. One of adventure, joy, and love. My parents bought a rustic red cabin on a lake, the one that my mom has imagined for her entire life. Our little off-the-grid cabin is hidden away in northern Canada, about 8 hours away from our home. And I wanted to share the very first time that I got to visit. My eyes were glued out the window the whole drive up. Every minute that passed felt longer than the last one. I was bursting with excitement because I knew that this was going to change my life. My very first time on the lake was magical. I felt like my body was flying outside of myself, as if I was being energetically pulled to our cabin. The beauty of this 10-kilometer lake is surreal. It's as if each detail was handcrafted for us. The soaring heights and sparkling waters mesmerized me, and that 10-minute boat ride from our dock felt as if I was in a whole new dimension, where time didn't exist. The cabin was even more perfect than I could have ever imagined. It sits nestled between oak, pine, and birch trees. The red logs stand out amongst the sea of green, whilst enhancing the natural beauty of the property. And this well-loved log cabin had many secrets waiting for me inside. Instantly, I felt at home. Love warmed my spirit, and I could see all the potential dressed in the small details left behind by the previous owner. I saw the future of our family. I could see all the cool autumn evenings spent being warmed by the wood stove. I imagined the summer sun kissing my cheeks awake and the lake gently whispering for me to get outside and explore. I was still in complete awe that this place was going to be a huge part of my life, part of my kids' life, and my grandchildren's lives one day. And I didn't want to leave the cabin, but I knew that there was still one place left for me to explore. I followed the old patio stones from the cabin and felt this familiar comfort, like I had been there many times before. It reminded me of when I was a young girl and I would pretend that I was in a magical fantasy world exploring. Except this time, I was. I could hear the rustling of the wind dancing through the leaves, feeling it guide me further through the forest. Each step brought me closer to this familiar space. There were crystal waterfalls with clay-lined creeks, and dotted with the most beautiful wildflowers. I realized that I had been there before in my dreams. My 100-acre woods that I had dreamt of since I was a child. A space that welcomes you in as one of its own. Where the forest nymphs guide my feet and show me all of the magic that is around us. As I floated through the forest, I took in every sight, sound, and smell that I could. I felt like I was walking through my dreams, only the colors were more vibrant and the sunshine was warmer. I knew exactly where to go, because I had waited my entire life for this moment. I knew this place existed, and I cried as I thanked her for allowing me to be a part of such a magical place. This is a memory that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
Thank you. You like to bark?
This trip to the cabin taught me some very important lessons about life. I was fully unplugged from the world during this time. no phone or internet, and this allowed me to fully connect with the earth, with Maggie, and with myself. When I slowed down, I was able to experience a kind of peace that I never had before. It was like everything was connected and I could experience it fully. I was able to be honest and overcome mental blocks that had been in my way for years. Things I hadn't even realized that were there. My dad had said something to me that profoundly changed the way that I view myself. He told me about when I first learned to ride a bike. I never wanted training wheels. I just wanted to learn how to ride, even if it meant falling a few times. I knew then that I had to overcome this fear of being in a boat. My dad and I went out, and I quickly realized that if I allowed myself to be uncomfortable and overcome a fear, that I could experience that feeling of peace. Once I stopped focusing on all the things that could go wrong, I was able to experience the freedom of life. I saw the most beautiful sights on that boat, and I could feel and smell the mist of the lake. It was when I was sitting in silence with my dad, when the wind was blowing against my cheeks, that I realized that this was the same feeling that I had when I learned to ride a bike. It was absolute freedom. And for that, Dad, I am truly grateful. The final lesson I learned was the value of working at the pace of nature. My mom, dad, and I worked so hard on cleaning out the shed, clearing space on the property, and so many other tasks. Each day I spent 14 to 16 hours outside, but I never once felt drained. It was like time didn't exist where we were, like we were moving in sync with nature. My mom and I were able to blaze a trail, clean the yard, and make meaningful connections with the land. One of the best parts about being there was at the end of each day, the four of us enjoyed watching the sunset. It was like a gift that she gave us, and that time was truly rewarding.
It's okay. Yeah, it's good. I love you.
On the final night of the trip, my mom and I stayed outside and had a big fire. We both talked about the bittersweet feeling that we had about leaving the next day. The fire was symbolic of the end of our trip, but from the ashes, a new beginning was being born. We took delight in knowing that we would always have this place, that we could always come back to our little red cabin. It was our very own little slice of heaven, protected by the cliffs above. A place that made us feel safe, more than we ever have. Our cabin already holds so many amazing memories. The smell of the tree sap all over me from moving the wood. The sound of Dad continuously working on the wood pile. The amazing food and talks that we had during meals. The fires, the woods, the chilly mornings in the cabin, drinking coffee together and dreaming of what the new day would bring. The laughs and the unconditional love that we all felt. All the firsts and challenges that we faced. Our little cabin has brought me so much clarity on what is important in life, and I cannot wait to go back and make more memories, and continue to for the rest of my life.
I just turned the video off when they came in,
I'm a klutz. I tripped out of the boat off of this orange thing right here.
Strapping.
The strap.